The 1950s were the boom years for the British motor industry. In post-war Britain, in order to generate as much foreign revenue as possible, steel was only made available to companies who exported 3/4 of their production. This, coupled with the limited competition from European car factories still recovering from the ravages of World War II, and the huge demand for new vehicles in America and Australia, led to Britain becoming the world's second largest motor vehicle producer in the early 1950s.
At Earl's Court, the Jaguar 100-mile-an-hour saloon catches the eye at the motor show. The engine was proved in the sports two-seater in races this year, and that's a real test. Ford's feature this year is the over-square design. Here's the Zephyr 6 with a lid off to show you the works. And here's the Consul with most of Big Brother's good points. Triumph feature the Mayflower, and that name's a good start off for the American market, isn't it? So you can see the dashboard, the wheel spokes are offset. From America comes the Nash Air Flight, planned to make a home from home on long-distance runs. Already famous in America is the Austin. The A40 Sports ought to keep up the good work. Morris feature the minor four-door saloon, with the Ford Consul the cheapest at the show, if you can get one. Going to the other extreme, how about the Rolls? So long as you've got to do without a car, why not do without the best?
Britain's mid-century motor car and motorboat show opens at Earl's Court on a rolling wave of optimism. Its chief object, dollars, of course. And expected to be one of the greatest dollar earners is the Mark 7 Jaguar Saloon, combining a 5-seater car and British craftsmanship at a medium price. Its enormous luggage boot will find ample room for that extra holiday case. The Austin exhibits, already with their American reputation established due to their stock car records, have produced more winners. From Coventry comes a 10-horsepower 4-door saloon, ideal for a small family, the popular Minx, while the famous Standard Vanguard combines economy with the usual advantages of a big car. The new Triumph Mayflower, a low-horsepower coupe, coupled with beauty of design. Their bigger roadster, which made such a sensation in Paris, has headlamp shutters that work at the press of a button. And a radio aerial that does the same. Yes, in the motor show of 1950, cars such as these will help bring the dollars home to Britain. New York, and Marshal Aid Chief Paul Hoffman opens the British Motor Show, while Henry Ford looks on with interest.
America respects a fighter, and you British in this show are demonstrating just that quality and we're for you. And I think the industry and the people will give you their support. Thank you very much indeed, and congratulations again.
Certainly, this all-British shop window of the latest models made American manufacturers sit up and take plenty of notice. The new adjustable steering wheel was highly praised, and so was this toy car made by Welsh miners. A sunshield that pulls down like a blind, and another boon, an inside-operated jack. Just one more British idea that's pulling in the dollars.
Eastbourne and road reliability trials start the day's events in the 4th annual rally, the town's most popular seasonal attraction. To drive backwards and forwards between obstacles is a tricky test for the best of drivers. It's a good job petrol rationing finished in time for them to get in that extra practice. A sparkling finish to the day is provided at a midnight ball, as 40 cars drive in turn on the dance floor to compete in the concours d'elegance and make shining examples to all who own a car.
In spite of everything, British car builders once again put on a show to make your mouth water. The Vauxhall features a luggage boot that opens by press button and lifts at the touch of a finger. In fact, everything's made so easy that you've no excuse for not having a car, except that you can't get one. Here's a nippy little Fraser Nash with a petrol tank just where you can watch operations, under the front mudguard. Sensation of the show is the new Austin 7, long-delayed successor to the famous Baby that made nearly everyone a motorist. But of course, there's the Daimler if you want to do without something really expensive. The new Barclay Caravan has a sunroof. It's a 2-decker deluxe job. Costs quite a bit, of course, but look what you get for your money. Even more revealing is the X-ray Hillman Minx exhibit. Don't ask us how it's done. Go to Earl's Court and see for yourself.
Once again, Britain's cars go on show at Earl's Court to tantalize us with their newness as we roll along in our pre-war flivvers, waiting for the day when a Jaguar might be ours. Or do we want a Triumph Mayflower for good value in a cheaper car? Here's the world's first X-ray model anyway, a Hillman Minx. You can see at a glance just what makes the wheels go round. If you've come with a housing problem, there's a double-decker caravan. And to make it a bit more like home, it's got a roof garden too. If you want comfort plus speed, the Daimler Regency model will give you both. New cars these days are certainly like gold dust. What did we tell you? Here's a gold-plated model. Someone on that waiting list's going to be lucky. Of course, the aristocrat of the motor world is here, but think of the expense buying the wife a new mink to drive in it. And yes, this really is an Austin 7, Britain's newest baby. And if you want to know what an Austin 7 will do, well, just ask your dad. Dagenham, and once again, the British Ford Motor Works make history with the production of the first of their new streamlined 1951 range. These cars incorporate the best in motoring at the lowest cost, but of course most are going to help the export drive. Chairman Sir Rowland Smith proudly drives away the first model of one of Britain's biggest dollar earners.
The Motor Show. Hard to get cars at high and mighty prices. So said these three smart girls in search of a car at Earl's Court. With film star Abandon, Veronica Hurst, Diane Hart and Valerie Carton were out to get a car. The handsome new Armstrong Siddeley Sapphire. Could they have one next week? Next year? Well, next leap year. The new Wolseley. Now we're very interested. Diane Hart is willing to chip in a third. Cash down? Sorry, ladies, but we can't deliver for a day or two, or a week or two, or even a month or two. Now, here's one they probably could have. A Daimler for Diane, any day. It's got everything. Just pay up, drive it away. But wait, there's some competition. Somebody else got there first. Sir Bernard Docker and Lady Docker. Give that up. So 3 disconsolate girls go home, the same old way, as usual.
Along the coast at Brighton, the 1952 Concours d'Elegance had attracted many sparkling entries from pre-war luxury to modern all-purpose cars. Entries for the Mermaid Trophy were judged for the most attractive combination of car and lady. The result was a dead heat with 2 dazzling cars and elegant ladies sharing a glittering triumph.
Once again, Earl's Court houses Britain's annual motor show. And if your pocket won't stretch this far, well, accent this year is on the family man's car. The Standard 8 is one of the new babies designed for the man with the not-so-hefty bank balance. Now for a glimpse of the cheapest of them all, the Ford Popular, a lively 10-horse job that costs £390 all in. Baby Austin, modern version of the pre-war favourite, is another not-so-expensive model. But you have to pay extra for luxuries like this. On to the Morris Minor Traveller's Car, a shooting brake adaptation of the Popular runabout. Recognize the driver? It's Everest conqueror Sir Edmund Hillary trying the new Rover with his wife. Yes, the Jaguar, one of the sleekest speedsters in the show. It's one of the many British cars that has won a high reputation overseas for perfect craftsmanship and design. Now a novelty, the Singer SMX with the all-plastic body. But sorry, it's export only for quite a time yet. The shape of the future is the Lincoln X100, an experimental model. Those are tail lamps, not jets. Now watch this, a drop of water on the roof, and there you are, automatically snug as a bug in the car of tomorrow.
Coventry, where at the famous Standard Works a new car is coming off the assembly lines, the Standard 8, Britain's newest baby car to capture world markets. The model was introduced by the go-ahead chief, Sir John Black, and it's just the car for the ordinary man on the road, with its 45 miles to the gallon and a top speed of 60 miles an hour. Peak output will be 2,000 a week, though about 60% will go for export.
The International Motor Exhibition opens at Earl's Court. Meet two new additions to the Austin family, the Westminster on the right, and the Cambridge, a handsome four-door saloon. The Westminster replaces the Hereford and costs about £50 less, in other words, about £790. Now the Deluxe Hillman Minx with a new overhead short-stroke engine. Its price, including purchase tax, is £681. About 40 brand new models are on show, including the Jensen 541, which has an all-plastic body and can clock a good 100 miles an hour. On now to the Lanchester Sprite, the first British car to do away with gear changing. There's a selector lever on the steering column and two control pedals. The Morris Oxford Traveller, priced at £822, is the latest thing in shooting brakes. The interior can quickly become a flat-floored loading bay. The Mercedes 300 two-seater coupe is one of the German exhibits. Points of appeal include the petrol injection engine and a top gear that can cope with a 15-mile-an-hour crawl or top the 165-mile-an-hour mark. Note the adjustable steering wheel. Coming back to Britain again, here's the Rolls-Royce Silver Wraith, perhaps the most graceful and precision-built car in the show. Its price, a mere £7,034. Nine countries take the stands at the International Motor Show in Paris. A sleek Sunbeam Talbot is one of the 27 British entries. And here's a Jaguar. This show, the 41st of its kind in Paris, is recognized as the most representative held anywhere in the world. A Studebaker champion helps wave the flag for America. Stars of the opera Porgy and Bess are among the crowd taking a close-up of the XP-21 Firebird, the first gas-turbined car ever built in the United States. The 200-horsepower engine is situated behind the driver. Great Britain led the field in the development of jet cars. We produced our first about 4 years ago. There's the business end of the Firebird. As in Britain, there's a small car war going on in France. The family man over there just window shops at such models as this. If rumors are true, Britain's car makers are saving their biggest secrets for our own motor show. The newest cars in the world are on show at Earl's Court. The new 2.4-litre Jaguar is a star attraction of the 1955 Motor Show, and so is the Cadillac La Espada. Though, unlike the Jaguar, this is not a production model. It's the only one there is made for exhibition purposes. Another new face from a famous stable is the latest MG, a revolutionary departure from the lines of one of Britain's most familiar sports cars. Estate cars attract much interest, like this Ford Squire or the bigger Humber Hawk. Modern estate cars more and more combine the advantages of a family saloon and a serviceable van. An interesting foreign exhibit is the Citroën DS19, another departure from long-established tradition. Rolls-Royce, as ever, managed to achieve lines of up-to-date beauty without sacrificing tradition, and certainly keep every comfort. How about Daimler, their oldest rivals? Surely this doesn't need polishing. Hello, who's this, a stowaway? Really, Mr. Wisdom, was that wise? The event of the year for the motoring enthusiast, whether he can afford a new car or not, the Motor Show at Earl's Court. This year, there are plenty of new ideas out of old stables, including the Conquest, Daimler's first two-seater drop-head coupe. The MG Magnet, 1.5-litre, is very cleverly displayed. And here's the Austin A105, bigger sister of the A90. This is the first Austin model to have two-pedal control. And on the Jaguar stand, the beautifully proportioned Mark 8, which is roomier than you'd think. Rover present the shape of things to come in their T3 gas turbine. Not yet in production, of course, but proof that Britain is taking the lead in this revolutionary development. The Singer Gazelle is closely related to its stable companions, the Hillman Minx and Sunbeam Rapier. From America comes the Buick Centurion, a very opulent-looking car, at present for display only. The makers don't even hint at the price. It has everything, except oddly enough a steering column. The steering is remote control. You can buy the Rolls-Royce Silver Cloud with a fitted radio telephone and coffee machine. What are you waiting for? Bring out your checkbooks.
Typifying the trend at London's Motor Show, the world's foremost motor exhibition is Vauxhall's new Cresta. Lower, roomier and more colourful. There's a record display of 310 models from Britain and abroad. Aston Martin shows saloon and drop-head coupe versions of their DB Mark III, both with disc brakes. There are also open and closed versions of the Frisky, a new British midget. Back to the luxury class for the Pontiac Sports. If you think of buying an MGA, you can't say they haven't shown you everything. This year's a double anniversary for Hillman's. 50 years since they started and 25 since their first Minx. So they call this year's model the Minx Jubilee. Over to the Rovers stand for their senior model, the luxurious 105R. This standard power unit looks as though it's got stuck in a bleep. Standard's contribution to the midget class is the pennant four-door baby. At the other end of the scale, the most expensive car in the show, a Rolls-Royce two-seater sports at $8,500 plus. Very nice, but it does seem rather a lot of money for only 2 seats.
It looked like a motorist's dream of heaven, the motor show at Earl's Court. The new Rover model took the eye when Pathé previewed the show before the official opening. But more than 200 cars competed for attention. The cutaway twin camshaft MGA laid bare all the works, while a gold-plated Austin Healey with mink seat covers adds a touch of luxury to motoring. The home cruiser on an Austin chassis gives caravan comfort without having to tow anything. Plenty of headroom and an excellent cooker. No need to worry if hotels are full. The smallest caravan can be towed by a bubble car. Apparently roomy enough, in fact, a marvel of space saving. Mind your head when you get out. But if you do hanker for something a shade larger, there's the Beverly Super Size, bigger than some flats. With a full-size bathroom, a single bedroom and a large double, the Beverly really does amount to home comfort on the road. The show's most expensive car is the Rolls-Royce convertible. Sign a cheque for just over £8,300 and there's no need to fear a rainy day. Before we say goodbye to all this, there's the Aston Martin. In the right sort of place, it'll do 140 miles an hour. If you want more, try the Comet. Court. New this year at the Motor Show is the Morris Mini Minor. Its engine across the frame, a novel, appealing feature. The new Austin 7 is its twin sister. Also new this year is the Chevrolet Corvair, in a class the Americans call compact. That is reasonable in size and running cost. Russia makes her Earl's Court debut. We sell a lot of goods to the Soviets, so we have to admit 2 invasions into the motor field. In most categories, Britain is well ahead of competition. The Triumph Herald, with everything easy to get at, will do close on 50 miles to the gallon at cruising speeds. The Aston Martin showed to advantage, Miss World helping. And with the Bristol Zagato, Richard Todd had no complaints. A quality car for the fast driver, the sort of automobile we shall see to advantage on the new motorways. The Sunbeam Alpine is in the 100-mile-an-hour class. And from a famous stable, the Renault Floride. Build it yourself if you aspire to a Fairthorpe Electron Minor. And when you've tightened the last bolt, you can hit up 90 miles an hour. All your own work. At a little over £7,000 comes the big Bentley. Most expensive car in the show, with all the extras you can think of, fishing rods included. And for a moderate price, the new Anglia. There's something for nearly every purse at the Motor Show.
You could imagine yourself at Earl's Court if you wandered into the New York Motor Show. There were so many British cars there. A great thing for the export trade. Of course, other countries got to look in because lower running costs are beginning to interest even Americans. Altogether, 68 manufacturers exhibited. An eye-taking novelty was the reclining seat. The Japanese section attracted a lot of interest. Exports are as vital to them as to our own country. It's good news that opening day orders for British cars reached an all-time record of £35 million. Many American families run 2 cars, and as the second one, the European model, cheap to run and not over long, fills the bill. Sales methods took the American eye, and the dollars poured in. It's good to know that in the biggest market abroad, Britain gets the lion's share.
Chiswick flyover is finished and open at last. Most people who leave London by road towards the west know this spot, a bottleneck for many years, but it won't worry them any longer. The first major two-level highway scheme to be carried out in the metropolitan area since World War II. It's a half-mile project linking the new Cromwell Road extension with the Great West Road. Two 24-foot carriageways on top and a roundabout underneath, and nothing gets in the way of anything else. Overseas visitors to London will appreciate it too, because it provides a straight run through from London Airport. From motorways to motor cars, second-hand ones in the used car show at Olympia. Some of them, this Bugatti for instance, are collector's pieces, but there's plenty to tempt the modest purse. Cheapest car in the show is this Standard 8. At the other end of the scale, a Ford Skyliner with its automatic hood folding into the boot at the first hint of sunshine. Lady Dorothy Campbell has a look at a Fiat V8. Some of these cost more now than they did new. This 1908 Adams, for example, £200 then, at least £850 now. But why bother with Olympia when there seems to be a used car lot on every corner? Roll up, take your pick. Anyone can afford a car these days. You don't have to be an expert to keep it running, only a mechanical genius. Newsreels and pressmen went to Chobham to see the new 850cc Austin and Morris cars. Designer Isigonis has given them an attractive look. The engine goes across the frame to provide front-wheel drive. Not even the heaviest passenger can daunt it. These new British Motor Corporation models have two aims: to keep out foreign cars in the small field and to carry the sales war into foreign countries. On the rigorous test circuit, they showed their hill-climbing powers. The gradient was 1 in 4. The little cars corner at amazing speed. They look like showing the Volkswagen and similar invaders just where they get off.